Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list is the conclusion of my top 10/20 error notes. Yeah, I showed more than 10 last time. I'm going to show more than 10 this time because I've got multiples and different varieties of the same error. But it's a great way to learn what is an error and what isn't an error. It was difficult to put these in any kind of order, so I kind of put them in the order of progression from least valuable to most valuable, kind of in the realm of what's easier to find, what's harder to find. Anyway, let's get started. Number 10. This is known as an offset printing error. Now, what makes this an offset printing error? What happened is when the note was printed, they started the press before the paper was inserted. So what happens is this gets printed on the back plate. Okay. Then they go to print here on the note, and when they print on the note is pressed against that back plate, and you get a reverse image on the back. If you try to read this seal, everything here is printed backwards. Now, this particular note they call an offset printing error, and it is not. This is a wetting transfer. This particular one, you can see here that this seal is extremely light because when this was printed, it was probably printed a little darker than it was supposed to be. Then the next note came on top of that, and they probably dried together. And when you separated the notes, that's what makes this light and why there's so much print on the back. They called it, though, an offset printing error. Offset printing of treasury seal. This is technically a wetting transfer. But when you're talking offset prints, this is what a genuine offset print would look like. Here's the front of the note. I know it's hard to see because there's the back of the note as well. If I show you this side, the back looks just fine. And once again, that's exactly how this happened. They started the press. They were printing the back of the note, and they printed the back image of the note on the back plate. So then when the paper came in, they printed this, and that got the impression on the paper, but it forced the image that they printed on here onto this side of the paper as well. So that's how you get an offset printing. This one is the back to front offset print. And of course, you can have the front to back offset print. It's interesting here having the diagonal. That just indicates the rollers and how the paper doesn't necessarily go straight in. It's slightly at an angle like that, but I mean, that has to do with ink flow and stuff. So those are all offset printing errors. That is number 10. Number 9. This is an example of an engraving error. I found this one in circulation. It's in horrible condition, but it is the engraving error, and the average person would never know it. This is the plate 295. You find these in the 1995 series. There's plate 295. The engraving error is they made this number, I think they made that too big. It's like 0.5 millimeter bigger than it's supposed to be. It's a very minor thing, but it's very hard to spot. And the plate number 295 is the one that actually has that error. Now, as far as engraving errors goes, this is probably the one that you're most aware of because you can actually find one of these. One of the other more famous engraving errors is this one. The 1907 $5 legal tender, the wood chopper. You can see right there, they do call it the public error. It's the PCBLIC because on the note, here's the word public. And if you look, this word, public, is PUBLIC. But this word, I don't know if I can zoom in close enough there. Get it to focus and then try to zoom in. It looks like the U is broken on the right-hand side, so it looks like it says PCB instead of PUB. And once again, that's an engraving error. That's what that was. They printed quite a few of these, so it doesn't have error status. In fact, I don't want to say it's 50-50, but you can find these with regularity. Most people don't even know that it's there. It has no additional value, but it's still cool. It's definitely an example of an engraving error. So that one's number 9. Number 8. Now this is the overprint on back. This is not an offset print error. What happened here is they did the first print, everything was fine. They did the second print, everything was fine. When they went to do the third print, they put the paper in upside down. So everything that is on the that was supposed to be on the front ended up printed properly on the back. It's interesting to see this side because this side shows nothing. There's the full second print, and on the back, the third print, everything is proper, everything is readable. It's just on the wrong side. So yeah, that is the overprint on back error. Pretty cool note to find. They do stick out when you're going through this way because you can't see any of that stuff. There are times that this will happen for a different reason, and I'll get to that later, but that's what it looks like when the paper is put in the wrong way. So that one is number 8. Number 7. This is known as a board break. Now, I've said before, when they print notes, when they don't have the paper inserted first, they will print, and that print will go on the back plate or the back board. Then when they put the paper in, that's how you get the offset print. But if when they're printing, too much pressure is applied, that board can actually break. And when that happens, you get something like this. Because now with that broken board, when they go to print, they put equal pressure across this. There's a board portion right here, so all this gets printed properly, but this half of the board is broken, so when they apply pressure, it's just like this, and nothing sticks, because in order to print notes, you have to remember you have a plate that's been engraved. They dug a portion of the plate out. Then they put ink into those grooves. Now they have to force the paper into those grooves. Well, if there's no support behind this, you can't force the paper into those grooves, so it will not get any ink on it. So that's an example of a board break. This portion of it was inked properly, but that's where the break in the board was, so there was nothing on this side. And it's always interesting to see how wore out this bill is. It only graded a 25 because it circulated for a while before somebody noticed that. All right, so that one is number 7. Number 6. Here's a cool one. This is a $20 1981 Federal Reserve note, and you can see on this side, it looks exactly like it's supposed to look. No issues at all. The problem is it's missing the first print. There is no back print on this. The reason for that is it's actually fairly simple. What happened is when they were printing the backs, 2 sheets got stuck together. So this sheet went together with the sheet that was on top of it. They never separated. That way, that's how this one never got an image. Then when they flipped the sheets to print this side, this back finally did separate from the other ones, and it was able to get this image on it. So that's how that would happen. Once again, it's a completely missing print. It's not like the print was done on the wrong side. It just wasn't there. And the way that happens, once again, 2 pages stick together. That's your explanation for it. That one is number 16, right? Or no, number 6. 10, 9, 8, 7. Yep, number 6. Number 5. Just want to double check to make sure I'm not doing these in the wrong order. Yep. Number 5. This, many people don't know this, but when you put notes through a bill counter, that bill counter can tell not only if it's a genuine note, but they can also tell the denomination. And the way it does that is when notes are printed, they use a magnetic ink. And there are certain areas of the ink that are magnetized so that when it goes through, the bill counters can detect that and determine the denomination. Here is a note where portions of the magnetic ink weren't properly printed. So you get these little squares right here. This is not damage, okay? That's underprinting of the magnetic ink. And that's what causes that. If we look on the back, the note is printed properly. There is no damage to the note. It's only on this side, when we zoom in, that we can see those squares of under-inking. That has to do, like I said, with the magnetic ink not being properly filled in the reservoir, causing those problems. So that one is number 5. Number 4. They call this an insufficient inking error, and I disagree. For this to happen, You'll notice there is no green seal here. There is no serial number. It's even missing the signature, because at the time the signature was part of the plate that put in the serial number. I believe this to be an obstruction error. They're saying that, oh, there was just no ink filled in there, so that's all that was. And I have the feeling that a piece of paper landed on top of this, a piece of scratch paper or something, causing an obstruction to prevent the third print to be printed on this side. The rest of the note's in good shape. It says insufficient of the overprint is what it says. The back is just fine. The front, missing the serial number, missing the seal, missing the signature. To me, that's what makes sense about this. So that's another thing to look for. If you ever find an obstruction error and the obstruction is still attached, there's a very famous banana sticker or pineapple sticker on a $20 bill where the sticker is still there. If you were to peel that off, there'd be missing ink on the bill. Those can be worth a ton of money if you can retain the obstruction. That's how that's called. Very, very rare to do. This is the more common way you're going to see it. So that's number 4. Number 3. For all of you people collecting gas pump errors, this is what you're looking for, okay? Look at the last digit. See how the last digit is so high that part of it is missing? That is a gas pump error, or a rolled digit error, or a stuck digit error. All those different names, that's what it's referring to when a digit is up high enough that a portion of it is missing. If you have a note where the digit is up a little bit high and there's not a portion of it missing, it's not an error. Those are very common. Okay, looking at the back of the note, the back is just fine. But yeah, when you talk about gas pumps, this one has a portion of that digit missing. That's legit. Another example, this digit is up so high, you can see a portion of the next digit. Okay, once again, stuck digit. Okay, this is worth money. The ones you find when you go through 100 singles and you find 2 of them that are slightly higher than the others, no, that's not worth anything. This is what you're looking for, okay? It's not only the digits, it can be the letters. Here's an example where the letter, here's everything, there's the whole bill there. We'll show this side here real quick. All right, so now we'll go back here. Here, the part of the suffix letter, the A, you can see it's so high that it's disappearing, and you can see the B underneath it starting to come into view. That is an error. Having it just a little bit higher, a little bit low, no, not an error. Nobody cares. It's not worth anything. This is what you're looking for. All right, so that is number 3. Number 2. This is an ink contamination error. It's a very difficult thing to have. These serial numbers are supposed to be green. This seal is supposed to be green. This is supposed to be black. But as you can see, these serial numbers here are black. And the ink that would fill this reservoir accidentally got put into this reservoir, causing this serial number to be black and this serial number to be green. I do have a second one as well. Once again, that's black, that's green, no doubt about it. And more importantly, these are from Atlanta. The year is 2017A, and you can see how close these serial numbers are. So it certainly makes sense that these were in the same print run. That's how I know these are the genuine deal. A lot of times you're going to see notes printed that are very dark green. There's a difference between dark green and black. These are black. These are green. Just to show them again. And here they are here. And how close can I get them together so you can see green versus black. Green versus black. Ink contamination errors, very cool notes. I've seen people show other ones. I did find one with a D that wasn't quite as black as this. So I had a difficult time trying to authenticate whether it was actually black ink in there or just dark green. But these are the real deal. So that one is number 2. And finally, number 1. I hate the fact that I've got to use a world note instead of a US note, but the US notes are just ridiculously expensive. This is a mismatched serial number. Y127954, Y127955. This ends in a 4, this ends in a 5. Yeah, finding one of those on a US note, that could run you close to $1,000 without a problem. The people that have them don't want to give them up. They usually have them even higher price than that because it takes a lot to get people to let go of them. They are very, very cool, the mismatched serial numbers. I took the easy way out and I got a world note with a mismatched serial number. I think I got this for less than $100. But yeah, eventually I will get a US note with the mismatched serial number because it just fits in the collection better. But it doesn't emphasize the rarity of this. This would be a genuine error. All right, guys, so now you've seen 20 different types of errors, what they look like when they're legit. Think about that when you're on eBay or when you're watching Whatnot and people are calling things errors when they are not errors. These are the things that you're looking for. All right, if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.